evening and welcome to the Relishing Dead podcast where we devour everything in the TWD universe. I'm Dawn.
I'm Barb.
I'm Eliza.
And I'm Carol.
We have an exciting guest tonight. Are you all excited? I know I'm excited.
Yeah.
Like Confession Monday.
Confession Monday.
Yeah, it's Confession Monday night. What we are so excited to introduce, he played Father G. We have Seth Gilliam. Welcome, Seth.
Yay!
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, thank you so much for being here with us.
My pleasure.
Yeah. And we understand that you're having bad weather, so we're going to keep all fingers and toes crossed that everything stays put for us.
Yes.
Seth, you know, one of the things about our podcast that's a little different is we don't just talk about The Walking Dead. We want to introduce you as the actor and kind of all of your genres that you've done to the audience and encourage them to go find these past movies and TV shows and do the I Spy Seth game along with us. So
Yeah.
we're very proud that, you know, we did a lot of research and digging on you. And
Oh, come on.
he's like, oh God.
No, I think he might be having problems again.
Have you got it?
This sucks.
Yeah, he's having issues.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. He'll get it figured out. He's having bad weather in New York, so
Yeah.
Damn New York weather.
yeah, you know how the New Yorkers are.
Mm-hmm.
So talk amongst yourselves in the audience.
Hi, everyone.
We
Hi,
got
Anissa. Hi, Tina. Hi, Pam. Hi, Elizabeth. Hi,
Hi,
Kiki.
Debbie.
Debbie. I love it. We got a lot of people in
I
here.
know.
So that's good. You got
You
some
got
patrons,
us?
too.
Are you there,
Here.
Seth?
No.
No. Can't hear us? Okay.
Tell him to go out and come back in.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll get it. So Seth has a long list of accomplishments in his acting career, and so we're going to go through some of that stuff. I see Pamela mentioning Starship Troopers already.
I
And,
love that one.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites as well. And of course, I'm a big fan of oh God, what was the show? Yeah, I'm really big fan. That's great. I can't remember the name of the show. Teen Wolf.
Oh,
Wow.
Wire.
Cool.
There he is.
Yeah.
There he is.
There he
All right, I
is.
knew I was going to get it for a second there. Hey, we got him back. All right.
So, Seth, you are a New York by birth and home, and that's Barb. That's our Barb. She's our New Yorker in the group.
Hey, what's up, fellow New Yorker?
So
Yeah,
y'all
I'm a
can
native
talk
New Yorker,
amongst
born and
yourselves.
raised.
There you go. And you went to SUNY, which is State University of New York at Purchase, and I think 1990 you graduated. You had an amazing alumni, and in fact, one of the Walking Dead fellow actors, Nick Gomez, was one of the alumni there.
That's correct, yes. Purchase does a great job of training actors and getting them in a position with the tools they need to get work.
Did you always want to be an actor?
I wanted to be a stuntman at first, but I was really small and fragile, so that didn't seem to be something that was going to work out for me. But yeah, I pretty much always wanted to be an actor.
That's awesome.
That's funny. I love that. So this is Seth. For people who are just joining us, I'm sure you guys all know who he is. Now, Seth, you have been a staple in our convention world for quite a few years. And we have some Patreons who have sent some pictures that they've taken with you. And so I'm going to show them. This is one of our Patreons. This is Anissa. And she had...
Vanessa.
Yeah. She had the honor of singing karaoke with you last year.
That's right, at the camp.
And that was so much fun. What song was it that you and Anissa sang? Do you remember?
I do not, because I sang I think 3 songs with 3 different people,
Mm.
Okay.
and I can't really recall because they're not the top 5 songs I usually sing in my karaoke list. So,
What are your top fives?
um, Young Americans by David Bowie,
Oh,
Faith by George Michael,
Ooh.
Yes.
Backdoor Man by The Doors.
It was
Sorry
Sister
to say.
Christian with Anissa.
yeah.
Oh yes, Sister Christian, yes.
That's a good
And
choice.
yeah, and pretty much the last 2 spots would be anything by the Beatles. The Beatles. The
Ooh.
Beatles.
Well,
Yes.
nice.
Yes. There we go.
All right. And then Kiki
Oh
met
yes,
you.
Kiki Sophia.
Yes.
Yeah. Kiki met you back in Walker Stalker, and of course, she has seen you several times.
Yes.
And our buddy Jason. Jason was actually a background actor on Fear the Walking Dead.
Ah, okay.
And then Pam.
Yes.
She was a sweetheart. And then we get to us.
Yes. There's Dawn.
There's Dawn. And there's Barb.
Yeah. Oh,
Barb.
and sure.
And then Eliza back in the day, and then me and my daughter Angel meeting you at Fandemic,
Okay.
and you had signed the artwork for Oscar.
Yes.
That was a huge thing. But
You know,
Seth
Oscar is the first fan encounter that I had on The Walking Dead. I was walking down Main Street in Sonoya. I don't even know if I think maybe I had 1 episode air, maybe. I'm not even sure. But he came running down the block and stopped me. He was like, I'm Oscar, Oscar's red hat. You the man, you the man.
Oscar.
Much love. You're gonna do great. You're gonna be great. And I was like, I hope I'm gonna be great. I'm gonna let this dude down if I'm not. He's real excited about it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That sounds like Oscar for sure.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
That's funny. So, but you have had, other than your filming career, and we'll get into that in a little bit, but you have had an extensive career on stage.
Yes.
And you've got a lot of experience doing a lot of Shakespeare performances. And I know in one of your interviews you had mentioned you prefer stage acting over film acting. And
Yes.
can you tell, I know why, and Eliza knows why. Can you tell our audience why you prefer stage acting?
Because there's no safety net. There's no second take.
Mhm.
You have one chance to get the moment right.
Mhm.
You make a bond with each new audience that comes in nightly. They agree to suspend their disbelief and believe whatever it is they're trying to tell them. And you try to make each moment as crystal and as sharp and as impactful as possible to tell the story. And you as the actor have the control to tell the story in theater. In film and television, it's up to the editors. You know, if they pick your third take and that was the one you don't feel the best about, but it's the one where the lighting was the best, or, you know, your co star looked the best and they're the star, then you're kind of shit out of luck. But on stage, it's you and your partner that you're doing the scene with. And it's exhilarating and it's extremely rewarding. And yeah, it's what I prefer. And
Okay.
they're all frozen.
Do you still have the opportunity today to get back to the stage?
I have a couple of friends who I went to SUNY Purchase with who are teaching at the moment. They're in the New York City school system, but we produce plays once every 2 years. New
Oh, wow.
plays. We find a theater downtown in Soho or just below Broadway in the 30s. And we do what are they called? Equity showcases.
Hmm.
So we take on people who don't get a chance to act, you know, on stage, and put them in the play and give them a chance to get their equity cards.
That's
Oh,
fantastic.
yeah.
So, being someone who has been on stage as much as you have, I know that there's always these backstage stories where a performer is on stage trying to do a serious scene or something like that, and inevitably there's always somebody off stage that is trying to mess you up.
Yes, I would be that guy.
You would be, so, and my question is, why is it always that they're exposing their ass?
What's funnier than a couple of cheeks?
There you go.
Your feet are not going to get the same response. Wait, show an elbow? Oh, there's an elbow.
But give them a full moon, and you'll grab their
Yeah.
attention.
How
Give
did
them
I
the
know
full
that you
moon
would
and
be
see
the
if they
one
say
to
it's
do
me.
that? How did I know?
Yeah, I'm a bit of a prankster when it comes to being on stage. If I've got my back to the audience, it's possible that I'm making faces at whoever I'm working with, and
Right.
it becomes about, can you hold it together?
Right.
Oh my God.
It's all theater training. You're just helping them train and grow their craft is what you're
Yes,
doing.
exactly.
Have you employed those pranks on film or TV? I could see you probably doing it on The Walking Dead, if any place.
Yeah, no, I don't. There's too much money involved.
Right.
I pride myself on being a 3-take person. Get it right on the first take. The second take is for safety, and the third take is just to have an alternative.
Oh,
Um, I think if you spoke to any of the actors that I worked with on The Walking Dead, they would corroborate that.
okay.
So I don't have things where I'm trying to break people up. I don't have. I was never in the outtakes reel. At the end of each season, they would do like a 5 or 10 minute reel of outtakes of people messing up their lines or missing their marks or weapons not firing or whatever it may be. I was in one in the 7 seasons that I had it, and that
That's
was playing air guitar when I didn't realize that somebody was watching me with the machete that I had.
well, your purview into television was in 1990, and I believe it was probably your first role and first job on the Cosby Show, and
Oh,
you had
yeah.
a recurring role as Aaron Dexter.
Look how
Wow, look at that
cute.
hair.
Look at that baby!
Cute.
Yeah.
A baby.
Yeah, that's wayward priest bait if ever I saw one.
That's amazing.
Yikes.
But you've been in. I mean, the list of what all of you've been in is crazy. But you were in the Oz from '99 to '01, and 2002 to '08 was The Wire, and that was kind of the role that really set you going when you played Sergeant Ellis Carver.
Yes. That
And
that
you're actually the third Wire alum to go into The Walking Dead.
I was going to say that The Wire helped to get me a few jobs. One of them, the biggest one that I got from it was The Walking Dead, because Robert Kirkland and Scott Gimple were big fans of The Wire. So when I auditioned for The Walking Dead, I just had to read directly for Scott one time.
Wow.
It took about 20 minutes to do 2 scenes, and then they offered me the role the next day. And that was because I was on The Wire. I got a chance to kind of skip ahead in the casting process and go directly to the most powerful main source, in the Walking Dead universe.
Right.
So Father G was the only character you auditioned for on The Walking Dead?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
And it wasn't as Father Gabriel. It was a high school guidance counselor who
Oh.
was listening to his a student, the sister of a student that confessed to him that he wanted to shoot up a school, and the guidance counselor didn't believe him, didn't take action. The kid shoots up the school and he kills himself, and then the sister comes to confront the guidance counselor. So it was kind of like um, it it paralleled Father Gabriel's locking people out of his church and having this horrible secret. And so that's what I read for Scott, and then they offered me the role. I hadn't been watching the show, and I hadn't read uh, the graphic novels, so I I thought Father Gabriel, they want me to play a priest in a zombie apocalypse. That ain't gonna last.
That's great.
Little do we know now.
Right.
Little do we know, it's one of the last men standing.
But he's Episcopalian.
Yes.
There has to be some unwritten rule in Hollywood that when you get your SAG card, you must be on some version of Law and Order, because everybody's on Law and Order, and you were on in 92, 05, 8, 10 of one of the branches. And so, it's like everybody's on Law and Order.
Yeah.
Then it was just fun watching you in those different
Yeah,
points.
I played a young African immigrant in my first Law and Order, which was Jerry Orbach's, I think, his last episode that he filmed before getting sick and passing away. Which is, interestingly enough, his son Chris is a friend of mine from high school, is one of my best friends for life. So I'd known Jerry before Law and Order, and he was really lovely to me. But I love Law and Order Special Victims Unit, which I have not been on, is kind of like my comfort food watching, which is
Yeah.
strange because it's the subject matter is always so dark. But I just, I've seen 19 of the 21 or 22 seasons they've had,
Yeah.
and can quote lines from episodes. I love it. And the criminal intent one that I did was really fun because I got to work with Catherine Irby
Mhm.
and Vincent D'Onofrio, and I had been watching them. I love the whole different take on, the kind of Columbo like
Uh-huh.
cop who's got all kinds of ticks and
Yeah.
everything else. You know what I mean? And the straight laced female cop who's the one who's holding it down.
Right.
I love
Well,
that dynamic.
who do we need to call to get you on SVU?
Yeah, I know. At this point, I think I may have missed my chance on that because they're not really introducing new characters so much, right? They've kind of gotten into romances and the backstories of the cops that they have.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, I love Christopher Maloney. We were on Oz together, and I think he's a terrific actor. But I don't need to see him kissing Mariska Hargitay at all. I don't
None
know.
of us. None of us.
That breaks my heart.
They're both too fucking hardcore. You know what I mean? To
right.
soften up for a kiss.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's disturbing.
Yeah.
It's like a three-legged monkey. What? No.
Oh, every time I see that, I'm going to think of a three-legged monkey.
Sure. Well, you've also been on several of my favorites as well. You've been on The Blacklist, Courage Under
Yeah.
Fire, and Bull. And I
Yes.
love all of those shows. The one that I really love, though, is Teen Wolf.
Yeah, that's a fun show.
Yeah.
And
It's not
only
just
were
for
you
kids.
right, and not only were you in the series, but you were also in the movie.
Yes.
And we were so excited to see you come back because that your character is a major character in this show.
Yeah.
And I just a lot of people were excited to see you come back for sure.
In
I
fact,
was
when you-
excited to do the movie because I wasn't able to do much of the last season because
Right.
it was a schedule conflict with The Walking Dead. I was actually shooting them both at the same time. For every 3 episodes of The Walking Dead, I would go from Georgia out to California and do an episode of Teen Wolf. And and in the last season, oh boy, I'm forgetting his name. Dylan, yeah, Dylan got hurt doing another movie, and so they switched around the schedule for him to recuperate. And so I wasn't in the last season of Teen Wolf, and I felt pretty badly about it. And Jeff Davis, the creator, of Teen Wolf. It was like, don't worry, we're going to have you in the movie, and you're going to have some seminal stuff to do in the movie. We haven't forgotten him. So
Yeah,
I believe
they were
when we
badass.
that was cool.
Yeah, and I believe when we saw you in 23 at Fandemic,
Mhm.
you were just wrapping up because I remember you were wearing your Teen Wolf zip up jacket, and so
Yes,
we were
the
all
black
excited.
one that I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's one other that I do not want to fail to mention, because this is right up all of our alley. Starship Troopers.
Starship
Yes.
Troopers.
Yes.
Love that one.
So I have a question about Starship Troopers, because you've done stage, you've done film, TV. With Starship Troopers relied heavily on a lot of CGI
And green screen.
type of interacting.
Mhm.
And I know that that's really different from a lot of the stuff that you've done before. What
Mhm.
what were some of your speed bumps that you had filming CGI? How was that experience for you, challenging instead of what you normally do?
Well, it was a lot of fun because about 10 feet behind the cameras, they had 10-foot long poles with green tennis balls on them, and they were to represent the bugs.
Right.
But Paul Verhoeven, the director, would stand in between the two guys holding the poles, and he would jump around like a madman, saying, and the fucking bugs are coming, and they're crazy, and they're faster than you, and they want to fucking kill you, shoot me, shoot me, shoot me, Casper, and the fucking weapon up higher. So we were just, shooting at Paul.
That's
You're gonna make me snort. You're gonna make me snort live.
Now I'm going to hear that in my head every time I rewatch Starship Troopers. I'm going to hear, there's a fucking bug!
Fucking bugs! They're fucking huge! They want to kill you!
Oh my gosh.
They were huge.
Yeah. But there were also a lot of actual practical bug things that they created on for the Starship Troopers. Like when I got to shoot at one point, I'm shooting a bug and it's spitting, green
Goo.
blood at me.
Yeah.
And they had a hose in this animatronic bug that they created that was full scale size. And it was about 9 o'clock in the morning, and it was already 103 degrees. We were in the Badlands of South Dakota, and the first take, it's like a butterfly was pissing on me. There was no fucking fluid, and I turned to the two guys operating the pump, and I said, "Dude, you got to blast me with this. Blast me with it." They're like, "You sure?" They seemed a little slow. You sure? And I said, "Yeah, man, turn it up. I mean, what the fuck?" And if you watch the movie, you'll see they hosed me like I was a fucking protester. They just blasted me with this green
Nice.
gook, and I swallowed about 6 fucking liters of it.
Yeah.
But it was great because, it's over the top and it's that kind of movie.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what they expect. The viewers expect that. I mean, they wouldn't want you to just be a pissing butterfly for sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's fantastic. You heard it here, folks.
That's right. Not a pissing butterfly.
Not a pissing butterfly.
No.
So that leaves us to
Ta-da-da.
where we all fell in love with. Well, I wouldn't say we fell in love with you in your first episode.
Well,
But
no, I got the death threats and everything else. People didn't love Father Gabriel so much. They loved him after he sermonized over that dude in my father's house. There are many rooms, or whatever, and shot him in the head. And then they're like,
Right.
"Oh,
right.
I like this guy."
Yeah. So we meet Father Gabriel in season 5, and our group hears him screaming, and probably one of the best victim screams I've ever heard, and probably my favorite my favorite character arc in this show. I mean, even more so than Carol's, because Father G's was not immediate.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, Carol's character arc starts as soon as she starts hammering Ed with that hatchet,
Yeah.
you know, that axe, whatever it is. As soon as that happens, boy, she takes off and runs. Her character grows exponentially. But Gabriel, we get little bits over time of seeing his growth.
Yeah.
And it's just phenomenal. So we meet Gabe, and he does some pretty shitty stuff.
Yeah, and I was suspicious of his character just like Rick was.
Yeah. But then, you know, over time we get little bits, and we see him, of course, at the food bank. We learn a little bit more about him. And then, you know, he does his shitty thing with Deanna, saying that the group doesn't deserve to be in Alexandria, all of that.
They're dangerous people, yeah.
Right.
We had a question about when you know, when you guys put on the blood and were walking amongst the horde in Alexandria, why nobody else went with you to take Jesus to the church?
That bothered the hell out of me.
Yes.
Yeah. And why did they walk around all day and all night long, walking around? We go from daylight to dark, and but they just send you off on your own with the baby.
Yeah. Well, you know, I guess they were trying to give him a bit of a hero moment, and it wouldn't have been as impactful if he went with somebody who was at that point a little more, had more fortitude for the fight.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Was there any point in time on the show that you think, because everybody, you know, gets that call that they're not going to survive? Did you ever get that feeling that you were going to get a call that it might be?
Thought that I was going to do 2 or 3 episodes, and then they were going to, I would be a device to kill off a more popular character coming to Gabriel's rescue, and then I would get my throat ripped out in the next episode. So I thought there was like a 2 to 4 episode shelf life for the character, because again, I hadn't read the comics,
Right.
and so when that didn't happen, it was all gravy. I was never afraid of getting a call, because it was like, well, shit, man, I've lasted longer than the 4 episodes I thought. So, you know,
Right.
if
Okay.
you're ready to kill me now, I hope it's just gruesome and I can give you more of that scream.
Wasn't there at one of the fan conventions, a couple of kids came up to you with the comic book and showed you the death of what you thought was going to be Gabriel, and you're kind of like, oh, this is okay, well, I'm done now, you know?
Yeah, a couple of little gleeful fuckers. This is how you die. Look at how you die. Look at how you die. Isn't that cool? I'm like, yeah, where's your parents? Slap them for bringing you here to show me this shit. How old are you, kid?
Gleeful fuckers. I want a shirt that says that now, you little gleeful fuckers.
The gleeful fuck.
Yeah, you know, hey, look. I'm like, thanks, kid. Thanks.
So did you
Stan is dead, by the way.
Yeah. Did you get any backstory of your character? Did you get to add anything, or did they tell you anything beforehand?
No. One thing that Scott Gimple told me was that he wanted people to sympathize with the character. This is in the height of people hating him for his decision making.
Right.
And I tried to play it like, you know, pitiful, so you can empathize with him. And people just weren't having it. They were like, fuck it, he's weak, let him die. And I was like, this is a bloodlusty crowd. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Death, destruction, and mayhem. Give it all.
Yes. Give us all that.
Yes. That's great.
Well, how did you feel about the development of Father Gabriel's romantic relationships Uh, he went with a couple of pretty strong women. One who was also deceitful, Anne
Hmm.
and or Jadis and Rosita. Which do you think, as an actor looking in, which do you think Gabriel had the better connection with?
I think he had a sweeter connection with Rosita, and
Mhm.
I think he had a more soulful connection with Jadis.
Yeah.
I would
Agreed.
say that
There.
Jadis would be closer. Yay! There we go. That Jadis would be closer to his soulmate than Rosita, and Rosita would be closer to a life partner.
Okay.
If I can make that kind of distinction?
Right.
Almost like a
But
soulmate with Jadis. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Well, we are very, very grateful to see the change in your character and how you do become such a formidable leader within the community.
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and, sometimes, how do you think you would do in an apocalypse? Would you survive, Seth, as Seth?
Um, I have a lot of rage. I would take the opportunity to seek some people out who deserve a little instant karma
Yes.
and level it up with a, you know,
Well,
golf club or something.
speaking of rage, one of my favorite scenes is the Dante scene
Mhm.
Oh,
where you take care of him. I went berserk for your character. That was such great acting. But how did you feel about doing that kind of intense killing on a character?
well, yeah. I think I was supposed to stab him like 3 times, but I decided I was gonna do Lizzie Borden and just give him 40 fucking whacks. Just it just seemed appropriate that Gabriel would want to be sure that the guy was dead. So I'm going to
Yeah.
Yes.
stab until there's no more breath. I'm not going to watch you bleed out, leave you in pain. I'm just
Yeah.
going to give you as much pain as quickly as possible and end you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so that was an intense scene, and I think I hurt the actor that I was working with because he had pads around his ribs, but I think I got him in between the pads at one point.
Oh, okay.
Um, so it was a little intense. There was a lot of I listened to a lot of
Heavy
rageful
metal.
music before
Hmm.
doing that scene.
It
Yeah,
was very cathartic for you.
I
Yes.
definitely screamed
Yeah.
at the television on that one. I was like, yes, finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you
Yeah.
just progressed from there.
Yeah. I mean, if you got to do it, go all the way. And he winds up cleaning up his stabbing act by season 12 when he just ice picks the dude in the top of the head, and that's it.
Yeah.
One and you're out.
Yeah.
But at that point with Dante, he fucking had it coming.
He did. He
Yeah.
did.
Well, and
Yes,
he, and I think at that point too, there was that connection with between Gabe and Rosita, and so she was in harm's way. So,
Yes.
there was, yeah. So absolutely, and maybe a lot of past anger that he was releasing from his past as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It could be whatever you make of it as the viewer.
Mhm.
Right. Right.
A
For
lot
me,
of
I wanted
people,
it to be as thorough a stabbing as possible.
Mhm.
Didn't-
a lot of people in the comments are talking about the scene where you say "Call me Gabriel" on the Reapers. That is
Yes.
one of my favorite scenes, also because when Rick left the show, he was my hero, and at that moment, Seth, you became my hero.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you.
yeah.
That was the most badass scene.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Hundred
We were all
percent.
like, yes.
Absolutely. And then I sit there
what
and
what I love about that scene is the scene before with the Reaper's priest.
Mhm.
How
Uh-huh.
it seems like the priest might be getting through to Gabriel, and Gabriel has a brief moment, and you think, oh no, he's sliding again with the faith and whatever, and then he just stabs the guy, and then the next shot you see of Gabriel, he's got the weapon, and there's a dead body on the roof. Like, we didn't even need to see him kill this dude. He's just killing
Right.
everybody. You know.
Yeah.
I thought that was a cool little.
Yes.
And you mentioned the the Reaper's priest, that was such an interesting scene between you two that was not between you two. And when he was walking and he stops and he starts doing his monologue and you're
That was
there in
not.
the
I'm sorry. Can
tree.
you say that again, Elisa? I missed the beginning of that.
The scene where the priest was walking along the tree line and he stops
Oh
and he does
yes.
his monologue and you're there in the tree line and it's like he knows you're there but he doesn't actually address you. But it was just that was such an empowering scene because
Yeah.
it you did see that look on Father Gabriel's face of am I doing the right thing or not,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so it was that was a very telling scene.
I think
Mhm.
internal conflict was it was a huge struggle for Father Gabriel. Throughout the entirety of the show, which um which I
Did
appreciated
I
being
freeze
able to play.
or did Seth freeze?
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. It was wonderful to watch. I was joking with the girls earlier. I said, "Yes, call me Gabriel," and I said, "I wonder if the writers read Moby Dick because I initially thought call me Ishmael." I was like, "Call me Ishmael, call me Gabriel."
Yeah.
Um, but
So there's another scene that I want to talk about that was extremely emotional and it was hard to watch. And that was the scene where you and Aaron
Mhm.
are having to play Russian roulette.
Yeah.
That was a hard watch for a lot of viewers.
Mhm.
And I'm just curious. And I asked Richie Coster this because he plays a lot of dark characters. But when you do scenes that are that dark like that, is there anything that you have to do after that scene to process and get rid of that so that you don't take it home with you?
Yeah, I wind up taking a lot of stuff home with me. It kind of lasts and lingers for a while. I try to deal in silence. I try to use music to help prepare me emotionally for scenes. And afterwards, I'll try to use the opposite kind of music to decompress. But really, silence and time is the only thing that really does it. So I would not be going out. I usually am very amped up after a day of filming because it's exciting to me, and I've got to rush,
mhm.
and I need to go out and karaoke or ride my bike or whatever it may be, smoke a fat blunt, whatever it may be.
Sure.
But the emotionally challenging scenes, I need silence and time.
Okay. And then also on that slide, we have you covered in Morgook. So apparently you're setting a precedence for being covered in crap.
Yeah. It's because I'm
How
so beautiful.
So fun.
how long of a filming day was that with you covered in all that mud and shit?
We did 3 takes of that because I was doing a face plant in the mud.
Right.
And we only had 3 costumes. So we had really had to get it right. And they were trying to like hose off one costume and like, it's not going to work. So I, I, I just did the face plant. I asked them to be sure that there were no rocks anywhere in the mud, and they had specialized mud that you could actually eat it if you wanted to. I did eat a little of it. Tasted like dirt. It was like, no, it's edible. It's like, yeah, it's so
It
it's dirt.
tastes like
What the fuck?
So it's dark.
it's dirt flavor.
But yeah, it's dirt flavor with a little chocolate strain in it. So
Yeah.
I face planted 3 times, and I think what they used is the very first one, but it was fun. It was fun. That's those kinds of things are fun to do as an actor. The flooded food bank was fun. Working in 3 feet of water, trying to run, terrified in 3 feet of
In water.
water. You know, that was fun. Face planting in the mud was fun. You know, the meat ponchos were not so fun
Yeah.
because of the fruit flies that were hovering around, because they used like Hershey syrup and something else and food coloring to make the blood.
Oh my gosh.
Because that's what it looks like, blood on camera.
Hmm.
Whereas actual blood doesn't, strangely enough.
Right.
Not that anybody would want to bleed, you know,
That
for the
much.
scene that much. But so yeah, so I felt like Pigpen because there were all these little bugs hanging around me all day long, and even though it smelled sweet, it looked, in whenever I caught a reflection of myself, it looked funky and nasty, and so I would try to
Yeah.
have to keep from throwing up in my mouth a little bit. It was, yeah, the meat ponchos were foul.
Was there
And I'm,
this is kind of a two-part question. What do you feel like was your hardest physical scene to do, and what was the hardest emotional scene to do?
The hardest physical scene was that running in the food bank with through 3 feet of water and being terrified and amping myself up for that, and um, trying to get it right because it was my first week on set. You know,
Mm.
that might have been my second or third day, actually. Um, so that physically was the toughest. Um, Emotionally, quite frankly, emotionally, Rosita's death scene was the
Yes.
hardest
Yeah.
for me because I just could not. The words kept catching in my throat. I didn't realize I was as emotional
Mm-hmm.
as I was, and so I was trying to be, you know, reassuring and commanding and steady and present for her, because I thought that's what Father Gabriel would want to be, and yet the emotion kept coming up and catching in my throat, and I finally just had to turn away and not say, you know, I had to apologize, and Greg's behind the camera going,
Yeah.
and I'm thinking, I'm too fucking verklempt to get the words out.
That was an amazing,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
that particular episode was, it was amazing. But yes, you and Christian and Josh were absolutely the pinnacle of that episode, and
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
it was probably one of the sadder deaths for myself.
Mhm.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah, that was a rough one.
Yeah.
And everybody in our comments, they're all listening and making comments about certain things. And everybody, as soon as you said Rosita's death,
Yeah.
like 10 people chimed in, said that took me
Mm-hmm.
out, took me clear
Yeah.
out, had me sobbing.
yeah,
That hit the heart for sure, the most felt and most emotional. Everybody's agreeing with you. Regina said Rosita's death. Absolutely, everybody.
yeah.
So that was a rough one.
Yeah. And going back to that episode, one more, you and Ross have such a great chemistry. Are you guys
Mhm.
like that offset as well?
Yeah, yeah. Ross is a good friend of mine. We've enjoyed ourselves all over the world.
Good.
Awesome.
So then we get a total and major surprise. Those of us who watched the spin-offs, we had heard that there was going to be a crossover character coming, but we didn't know who it was going to be.
Yeah,
They're
everybody
all
figured Morgan, right?
No,
Was
no, no,
that-
no. No. We're talking about Father Gabe and the ones who live.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
There
Yeah.
was a lot of money lost during this particular time because everybody was making bets who it was going to be. And when it was you, we were all like, "Holy shit!" But hell yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
How
we
long
were
did you have to keep that secret?
Couple of months. Yeah. Scott Gimple called me up when I was actually on vacation in Barbados, And I thought he was just calling to check in with me because that's what he does. He sends you birthday messages, and he'll text like every 6 weeks or so just to check on how you're doing, and remember some little bit of a conversation you had with him 4 years ago. He's really amazing in terms of the care that he shows to the people that he's worked with. So I spent about an hour telling him about my life, and he finally goes, "Well, that's great. The reason I'm calling." I'm like, "Oh, you didn't want to just catch up? Or you want to talk about business?"
Yeah.
That's
And it was,
fantastic.
it was,
Yeah, and then it was a matter of having to keep it secret. It wasn't very long between when I filmed it and when it aired,
Oh, wow.
so it was only a couple of months. Um, but but I loved it. I loved the whole idea of same time next year, which was Scott's thinking behind it. That play. I don't know if is that a Neil Simon play? I'm not sure uh, what the play is, but same time next year is the thing. I know there's a movie as well.
Mhm.
And he wanted to reflect that of them meeting once a year over 5 years,
And
um,
what
and
an
I
amazing,
thought it was just sentimental enough for me to get excited about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
an amazing death scene that they had
Holly.
for Polly's character, and
Yeah,
seeing the flashbacks and you in the flashbacks. It was amazing.
Very
yeah.
powerful. Mhm.
So I know at the end of that episode, the question, the group question was kind of like, do we think that Gabe thought that Jadis stood him up, or do we think that Gabe knows that something happened to Jadis? What is your
I
take
think
on it?
my take on it is that Gabriel doesn't know what happened to her, but he figured that something got in the way because it's just such a tight window that they would have to get together.
Mhm.
So she just couldn't make it that one. And I imagine him showing up the next year, same
Yeah,
day,
that's
same
kind of
place,
that's
Oh,
kind of
expecting to see her.
yeah.
And showing up for a few years, you know,
Hmm.
keeping the faith.
Yeah,
mm.
that's why they need to continue The Walking Dead.
Yes.
We've got too many
Yes.
left unleft stories,
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. And the obsession is obviously still there. So,
Yes.
yeah.
It's a good thing.
yes,
Yes.
I agree. All right, that's it for the slides. Is anybody in the comments have any questions for Seth? We'll see.
Anissa had said earlier that one of her favorite lines of yours was peanut butter meat jelly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that was a good one. Has he ever gone back and watched it all the way through? Don's brother wants to know that.
I have not. It is, I'm, I'm a very sensitive person and I'm hypercritical. And going back and watching my work, if I'm not tearing it apart, then I'm missing it all over again. So I try not to put myself in that position. And one day, maybe when I'm done with it all, I'll go back and watch all the stuff that I've done. But I'll watch it and be like, you had that slide from the Cosby Show. And I'm like, oh, I had hair. I had a widow's peak. And I'll miss that. So
What
the
you
Starship Troopers thing, I'll miss shooting at Pulverhoven.
Right.
I don't want to miss too much.
well,
Leslie had a great question. She said, how hard was it to wear the contact lens?
Oh, it was pretty easy. Justin Faith was my lens tech. And it was her job to care for the contact lenses, put them in my eyes, and keep dropping fluids in them every 15 minutes, or else it stuck to my eyeball. And then she would have to use her nail to pluck it off.
like
And also the dry ice that's on the set that they use for smoke in the background for atmosphere
mhm.
dried out the contact lens. So there are like a couple of times where she had to peel it off my eyeball. But she was so sweet and nurturing, putting this contact lens in my eye. She'd be like, "Okay, and here we go. We're just gonna look up. You're doing so well. You're doing so well. We're gonna look up and breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, and there it is. And there it is. And look, you've done it, baby. You've done it." And I was like, "Yeah, I did it. I did it." So she made me feel like a rock star, like a baby rock
Oh.
star, like some kind of infant with a microphone, it's like a song list, you know.
And she's going to give you a juice box afterwards.
Yes, exactly. You know, hold. You
Chris,
want to hold? You want to hold your rattle while I put the contact lens in?
Christy
Elizabeth
Lucio.
So nice.
comments.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Barb.
Oh, no, I was going to say Elizabeth in the comments wants to know what's your favorite Gabriel moment.
I think it's the one where he recites the Bible verse and shoots the guy in the head,
Okay.
That's a good one.
because it was a huge turning point for the character.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Is there any character on The Walking Dead you wish that Gabriel had a scene with that you didn't get that chance?
Yeah. Scott Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh,
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Scott Wilson. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, they killed him off before Gabriel came on the scene.
He was an amazing man.
Yes.
He really was. He really was. I met him at a convention. My first convention. We were seated. I was seated next to him, and at that point, people would walk by my booth and tell me that they hated the character and they hoped he died and this and that. And Scott started making people include me in the shots with him, because he
Oh.
said, "This is a great actor. This is a great actor."
Oh.
Yeah,
He was.
he
oh,
was
that's
very
funny.
sweet.
Regina wants to know if you took anything from the set.
They gave
Wow.
me some costume pieces,
Hmm.
and they offered me the contact lens.
Cool.
Hello?
That's amazing. I saw some auction here just recently.
Yeah, they gave me some costume pieces and they offered me the contact lens, but I didn't take the lens. I think it's in a museum now in LA, some Walking Dead museum. But I mean, they gave us weapons like every year as wrap gifts, so there wasn't really anything to take. I got a machete, I got a broadsword, I hope it's not live, but I've got a grenade. I mean, I've got all kinds of shit that they gave us.
I hope it's not live.
I hope it's not live too.
I know there was recently an auction, and I believe your Bible went for like a stupid amount. I think it was like $5,000 or $10,000 that Father Gabriel's Bible went for.
See, you should have taken the Bible.
I opened that Bible 3 times, and one time was to rip half the pages out of it.
Right?
What are they selling?
Exactly. That's
It's got
crazy.
pages. Why does it go from Genesis to Matthew?
Right, what happened?
Exactly.
We don't like Deuteronomy.
Right?
Christy Lucio asked if there's anyone that you would like to have a spinoff with.
I would love to work with Ross and Josh on a spinoff. I think the 3 of them would make fantastic show buddies.
A lot of people have been saying Gabriel and Aaron.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They want to see that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I tried to pitch it to Scott Gimple.
Well, it might be in the back of his head now. He's thinking about it. He's stewing over it.
Yeah, maybe. I got the impression that he was pretending not to hear me. Because I'm
Well, you know,
talking, we have the clearest reception, and we're talking. I bring it up, and he's like, "Hello," Hello? Hello? Like,
Can you hear me
motherfucker.
now? Can you hear
I
me
know
now?
you can hear me. You can totally fucking hear me.
Right.
That's funny.
Well, we are so excited and looking forward to seeing you again in 50 days, and can't wait to see you at the camp again. And I know everybody in the audience can't wait to see you again. And we've absolutely loved you being here with us tonight. Girls, you have any other questions for him? And then we'll get into our favorite part of the show.
I'm good.
I'm good.
So I know that you're familiar with James Lipton inside the Actors Studio.
Yeah.
And whenever James would finish an interview, he had his set of questions. We have taken those questions and we like to end our show with those questions. And Barb and Dawn have added a couple to spice it up. So we're going to let Carol get us started off.
All right. I think I already know the answer to this because I've heard you say it a million times, not just on tonight, but at the camp. Yeah. But I want to know, what's your favorite curse word?
Fuck. Followed closely by cocksucker.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And if I could mix in a fucking cocksucker, it's even best.
There you go. Perfect. I love that. I love that.
I'm right there with you, buddy. Right there with you.
Yes.
All right. So other than your favorite curse word, what is your favorite word?
Because.
Okay.
Okay.
Because implies that answers are coming. Truth is present. Because the sky is blue, it makes me cry. Because the wind is high, it blows my mind. Or
It's a fantastic answer.
I love that. I
Yes.
love that.
Fantastic.
All right. So what's your least favorite word?
spoiled. I hate when people say that children are spoiled because they can't come back from spoiled.
Right.
You know, you can't drink spoiled milk after putting it in the fridge, at a lower temperature setting to get it back from being curdled. Once it's spoiled, it's ruined forever. So saying that a child is spoiled, you're saying that there's no hope for growth, change, possibility, anything.
I
Spoiled.
love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What turns you on?
Music.
Okay.
Eye contact.
Eye contact.
There you go.
Yes, I get excited about a conversation or an encounter with people if they're making eye contact with me. If they're not, then I have a hard time believing them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What turns you off?
Rudeness, cruelty, narcissism,
Yep.
people who don't signal when they're driving in their cars, people who don't say thank you when you hold the door for them.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And my final question: if you can have a dinner
Yeah.
party and invite 3 actresses or actors, dead or alive, who would they be?
Marlon Brando, Sidney Poitier, and either Robert De Niro or Al Pacino.
Nice.
I'm coming to that dinner party.
No doubt. Just for Cindy Poitier alone.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. Well, Sidney's going to carry the conversation. Marlon's going to eat all the food.
Yeah.
And,
And
and
De
De
Niro
will
or
be
Pacino are going
studying
to
me
complain
play me.
about it.
Yeah.
Exactly. There you go.
Go on.
What's your favorite sound?
Favorite sound. I don't know. I don't know what my favorite sound is. I kind of like the sound of church bells
Mm.
when it's like 3 o'clock. Six
Yeah.
o'clock, too many bells. 9 o'clock, way too many bells. 3 o'clock, perfect.
Noon and midnight, forget about it. I'm out.
Oh man, like, what are you doing?
I love that. 3 o'clock.
Okay, what's your least favorite sound?
Anything that sounds squishy. Squishy.
Says the man who likes to
Moist
have
and squishy.
goo.
I
Yes.
should not have taken a drink of water at that moment.
Squishy is foul to me.
I love it.
This is nasty.
Yeah, and my last question, if you had a birthday party and you could invite 3 musicians or bands, and dead or alive, who would it be? And I kind of think you're going to say the Beatles because I'm a huge Beatles fan too. And
Yeah.
I'm curious of what your favorite song of the Beatles is.
It would be the Beatles, David Bowie, and Prince.
Yes, Prince.
My favorite Beatles song, it changes, of course, because they have so many.
Yes.
But it's Old Brown Shoe, which is a George Harrison led tune.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I love the lyrics. If I grow up, I'll be a singer, wearing rings on every finger, not
Right.
worrying what they or you'll say, but I'll live and love, and maybe someday, who knows, baby, you may comfort me.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love
Eleanor
that.
Rigby's my favorite. I love the lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
And yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something is my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah. Something.
Apparently, Frank Sinatra said is the greatest love song he's ever heard.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And for my questions, what career other than your own would you like to try?
Architect.
Oh,
Nice.
I like that. What career would you not want to try? That grin.
People who work cleaning up the lion cages in zoos, or the gorilla cage, or any cage. I'm not looking to clean some animal's shit
Because it's squishy.
It's squishy.
because it's squishy.
Squishy, squishy.
And if heaven exists, what do you hope to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You almost got it right, but you can come in anyway.
That's fantastic.
That's great.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This was a lot.
Yes.
You're
We
welcome.
love
Thank
you.
all. Thank you.
Yes, we love you. And again, so grateful that you came on and joined us and took time out of your schedule to be with us tonight.
Yes.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
We will,
Means so
see,
much.
we will see you in less than 2 months.
All right, less than 2 months.
That's
Yeah,
it.
count us
All right.
down. Oh, and if anybody's going to the camp that's watching and has tickets, Seth is doing an event. It's a whiskey event, and so you guys just try not to get too obnoxiously drunk. And if you do, Father Gabriel can admonish, he can cleanse your sins, so you'll be fine.
Yeah, I will be brandishing a large wet fish that I'm happy to slap people with if they get out of here.
That is classic right there. I love that.
The power of Christ compels you. The power of
Thank you again, and we love you, and we can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for being here, Seth. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
What a treat.
Oh my gosh, he was just absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
He's amazing.
He is. And so funny. And that, I think a lot of people just don't realize from just, watching his character, just how funny he is.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
especially if they've not ever been to the camp.
Right.
Because he's a
I
hoot.
have to agree with Regina. I love his laugh too.
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All
All
right.
right. Less than 2 months.
Yeah. So we like to thank our Patreons and financial supporters of our show. Destiny Laura Moore, Terry and Kay Collier. I think I seen Terry in the comments tonight. Sandy Morrison. I saw Sandy in the comments. Tracy Killen Stokes, Ben and Melissa Gilbert, Pamela Blythe. Pamela was in the comments tonight. Marion Craig, Brandon Cade, Jason Cohn, Wesley and Sarah Hale, Randy Nickel, Jasmine Mullins, Edward and Diana Ponce Krupa. I think I seen Edward tonight in the comments. Casey and Katrina Florig, Jason Hill, Jonathan and Michelle Cooley, Tina Stromberg. I seen Tina in the comments. Debbie Juno Jerome. I seen Debbie tonight. Juan Montalago, Casey Collins. Casey popped in. Anissa was in the comments tonight. Elizabeth Hanson Green. I seen Elizabeth. Jonathan Witten, David Tuckerman, Crystal Fink. I think I seen Crystal in there tonight. Kiki's in the house. Samara is a new Patreon. Thank you, Samara. We seen her in the house, and our very own Dustin Baker.
And there's a new one to add, Samara.
She's on there.
Okay. I missed that altogether.
Good morning, Eliza.
Yeah, where are you, Eliza?
Deanna.
Yeah, who's Deanna?
Have you seen the podcast?
No.
She still needs that shirt. And a very special thank you to Oscar and Casey. If you want to check us out, we are on Facebook. We have our Facebook group where we give away monthly prizes, and we'll be doing that tomorrow night. And our podcast page, if you haven't liked that, go over and do that now. Instagram, we keep that. Eliza keeps that hopping. We're on YouTube. If you haven't subscribed, please do, or share to your friends. We're on Spotify, Twitter, IMDb, and Carol keeps that going. And I'm sure she's going to be adding Seth tonight.
Tonight.
And then we're trying to find new merchandise is coming soon. And then Patreons. You can have a $10 Patreon or $20 Patreon.
And why do people want to be Patreons, Dawn?
Because we give back to the lovely people in the comments.
That's right. All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We had a lot of people in the comments watching us tonight, and Seth is worthy of the number for sure. He is worthy. So we are super excited to see him in just a couple of months as well, just to hang out.
Only thing I regretted not asking him, and I think Kiki put it in there, is to ask about Andy Lincoln, because we usually asked every actor. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And then, of course, this is the favorite filming location as well.
Yes.
Yeah. So, all right, guys.
Santi said my OnlyFeet page is up.
Santi's trying to get that back from the dead money is what he's trying to do, and I don't blame him.
Right, exactly.
We love you, Santi.
All right.
Love you guys.
We love y'all.
Are we having anything?